It's not about what you have, it's about who you have. It's not about where you live, it's about how you live. And it's not about what you do, it's about why you do it. Welcome to the Momentasize podcast. Today, we are going to pick the mind of a great guest. He's a videographer. He runs his own agency, and he's a social media expert. He's an expert on helping people build their brand through social media. Without further ado, please help me welcome Connor Newell to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited for it.
I really appreciate you coming on. For those of our listeners who don't know about you, give us a little background and we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So currently social media coach and content creator in Bend. And if we go back to like how that all started, I basically grew up always loving creating videos. Like I was that kid growing up, like 12 years old, taking my family's video camera, making videos and skating, wakeboarding, skiing, like all of it, right? All the action sports. So that kind of took me like all through high school, all through college. I played college baseball and still kind of, made some videos through that. And that's kind of where like I turned my passion to video like into a business. Me and one of my teammates started making these trick shot videos in college, and certain brands and social media accounts and baseball accounts and stuff started reaching out to us to like collab on content. And this is 2016, 2017, just for context. So started doing that, realized we can maybe make some money with it, started working with some local businesses, and like that kind of started our video business, and it's kind of morphed through many phases over the years. And now I'm in the coach real estate agents and personal brands on their content strategies. So.
Yeah, I love it, man. Yeah, you've really created a good brand, a good niche, and you're helping a lot of people be able to understand the importance of their personal brand and then put strategy behind it, right? I think a lot of people can see it, understand it, and know it's important, but then to put real technical strategy behind it, that's a whole different thing. So it's great you have a coaching program for that. So where did you play baseball?
George Fox.
Nice. What position?
Yeah, second base.
Second base.
Yeah.
Nice. And so you played all 4 years there?
I played first 2 at Mount Hood Community College. And then after that jumped around, but went to Westmont for like half a year in Santa Barbara. Finished that school year at Oregon State. Didn't play baseball. Realized I wanted to play baseball again. So I went to George Fox and played my last 2 years there.
How many, like, I think about this, like you see a lot of athletes and you see the sport. How many things that you learned growing up playing baseball have you now brought into your business?
Oh, dude, it's everything. I mean, it literally turned me into like the person who I am now. Like, whether it's like leadership or competitiveness or just like accountability, like structure, schedule, routine, like it really turns you into like the person you are. The interesting thing with that, and I don't know if you struggle with this too, but I know a lot of people do. I know Ryan Bundy's talked about this on his podcast a little bit too, but like after sports and like after school, going into like a world without like the structure or without like that attachment that you had where it's like, I'm a baseball player and like, this is what I do. And like trying to find that new passion to connect yourself with, like it's kind of tough and like took a while. So that was a big shift for me. It was like baseball gave me a ton of like life lessons and, turned me into who I am. But like as soon as baseball was gone, it's like, all right, now I need to go find that next thing that like really lights me up and makes me excited to like pursue. So, and I think for me, that was video. So I got lucky with that.
Yeah. I remember like vividly what it was like losing that identity crisis, right? Because you attach yourself to exactly, for you it was baseball, for me it was soccer. And that's what I did. That's what I trained for. That's what I thought about. That's what I watched. That's what I talked about. Like that's all I did from when I was 5 through college. And then all of a sudden, boom, that's gone. Or you didn't go to the next level. You played at a good level. You didn't go to the next level. Boom, that's gone. And you're like, what's the next step? And you do go through, for me, it was like a 2-year identity crisis. And I had to try to figure out, similar to what you experienced, like, what am I going to pour this energy into? I had a passion this whole time. So what am I going to pour this energy into? The fundamentals of what sports teach you, exactly like you said, in mindset, in life, in structure, in competitiveness, and being able to try to look at yourself when you're trying to build a skill and improve on it, right? Like if you're trying to get good at something, it's really important to reflect on each time you perform on it. So those things, I didn't even realize that what I was building was essentially a growth mindset muscle to try to become the best I could be. And sports was a huge avenue for that. That's why I think like anyone who, if you look at a lot of people, especially who start to become after the sports are over, who are competitive, they usually have a sports background because they've had to compete. They've had to try to improve. And I couldn't agree more. I remember vividly what that identity crisis was like. And I originally didn't have a passion. You had video to pour into, but I was kind of like lost a little bit. I was trying to just figure out what to do next. And running is actually one of the key things for that energy that really helped me out. Running, finally, I had some guys rally around me like, dude, you're getting kind of chubby. Let's start running. And, that definitely catapulted things forward. But so video, you figured out in college, you were doing like video, doing trick shots, and you had some success with it. And then you're like, hey, we might have a business here. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's actually funny. So there's this old video of Brandon Crawford. He's a shortstop for the Giants, and he's doing these like trick shots when he's in, I don't know, it must have been like AAA or AA or something. And my buddy came up to me, he was like, yo, this video is so cool. We should like recreate this and like do our own trick shots. I was like, yeah, for sure. And he's like, yo, we should like do it right now. It was like after a team meeting, like I think in the fall. I don't know if it's before we started practice or after, but I was like, dude, I'm tired. Like, I need to go eat. Like, we'll do it like another time. He's like, come on, it'll take like an hour or whatever. So anyway, he talked me into it. We ended up doing it, and it like kind of popped off. Like it probably did like 90,000 views on Twitter. I think it got like 1 million or more on Facebook. And then on my personal Instagram, it probably got like 15,000 or something like that. And dude, that was like, I mean, this is before Reels, this is before TikTok. This is like 2016, like, getting crazy views on a video like that is like kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
So we kept doing those and kind of did them like throughout the fall. Then season came and we couldn't really do much anymore. But by that time we had like some connections with different brands. One being this company called Baseball Lifestyle 101, who are now good friends of ours. And they would send us some merch and we'd make videos with them and stuff like that. And then we started working with some of their like brand partners, like sporting equipment companies. And we would make videos for them because they just liked the quality of our videos. They thought they were so cool. And we were literally shooting on like an iPhone, but like it looked good. The edit was good. Like music was good. So brands liked that. And we're like, shoot, okay, we can make some money with this. And we just kind of started doing it for like local businesses, like real estate agents, stuff like that. And first year was kind of like a part-time deal. I had graduated. My business partner was a junior, so he went back for his final year. And I basically, to kind of speed up the story, moved back home after college, worked for my dad's business, still doing some video stuff. Then after a year of that, moved to LA and actually worked for VaynerMedia down there for about a year. And then finally went off and did like my own thing and took my business full time and started going from there.
Let's unpack that a little bit. The starting your own business, you're down at Vayner, you touched a couple things, you knew that you liked this. What was that like going from, hey, I'm working for VaynerMedia now, to pulling the trigger on your own thing? What was that process like? And was there any fear in there? Tell me about that push.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was definitely scary for sure. I had a few good clients that I was still working with, like that I'd built up over the couple of years. So even while I was at Vayner, I was still doing like kind of my own freelance stuff a little bit with some clients. So I kind of already had that going. But I mean, luckily I was working for a guy that like instills that like, go after it. Here's how to build your own business, like post on social media as much as you can, like how to market your business, stuff like that. So I literally just I moved to Portland to go off on my own, and just started DMing like 50 like businesses a day, just like as many as I could, just like sending out DMs. Hey, I'm a videographer. Like, here's what I can do. Here's what I've worked with, all that stuff. And just slowly like clients started to say like, okay, yeah, like let's do a video, and just kind of slowly built up like over the years, really.
It's awesome, man. Yeah. How many years you been at it now?
So we started our business in 2017. So 7 years now? Yeah.
What a road it's been, probably, huh?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's morphed from one thing kind of into the next. But still going at it and just kind of adapting with the times, really, because like when we started out, we were doing a lot of like website videos. Whereas now we do
like 60 to 90 second promotional videos.
For sure. Yeah. Or like, Instagram ads too. So we do like Instagram ads for like product companies. And then we would do, like website kind of homepage videos, like, brand story videos or something like that, for different local or service businesses. Yep. And now it's like pretty much all short form content, and it really morphed in, I would say 2021, 2022, it really switched from like doing more long form, like website content into the short form content.
You think just attention spans or what?
I mean, I would say a little bit of shorter attention spans, but also just like social media has completely changed, like, content's just different now. Like now videos are like 6 seconds, and honestly, it kind of pisses me off, which is why I've leaned more into like the long form YouTube stuff, which I really enjoy. But yeah, I mean, I think that honestly, like the TikTokification of content, like changed everything in 2020.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Completely changed. I mean, you figured out, you've got over 100 million views on TikTok. You've obviously figured out a formula and a format to make it happen. What makes a good video? What makes something go viral?
Yeah. I mean, the three key things are like, grabbing the person's attention, whether that's like, creating curiosity, evoking emotion, or what's the last one I always say? I can't remember. But, tapping into people's like psychological, really, whether that's their emotional or like making them curious or like, is there going to be a big payoff? But that first 3 seconds is huge.
Just hooking them.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's you go past the hook. You're like, a hook is easy. That's the framework. But you're saying like, what am I going to, is it going to be emotion? Is there going to be an emotional thing here? Curiosity thing here? Big payoff at the end. So you're trying to make sure that the hook itself in that first 3 seconds either has an emotional connection, a curiosity, like pique my curiosity, or like a big payoff type promise at the end.
For sure. Yeah. Like anticipation or something like that.
Yeah. When you're saying 3 seconds, you got to hit that in 3 seconds.
Yeah. Even less, honestly. Yeah. Like, if you watch teenagers now, how fast they scroll through social media, it's like you got a half a second almost. Like if that first clip like is like, oh, it's boring, or I'm not interested, or I don't know what that is, or it takes you too long to start your sentence, or like they're gone. Yeah. So it's so important that like split second, as soon as your video like hits their eyes, like it has to grab them and want to keep watching.
Yeah. Yeah. So hook's got to be on point. Then what's the next piece of a viral video?
Yeah, I would say like definitely like the cadence or like the pacing. Like it needs to like stay
energy
moving.
Tone, just boom, boom, boom. You think it's energy tone or what?
For sure. Energy. Even just like the cuts in between clips. Like it sounds weird, but like if there's, a split second too long of a pause, like either at the end of a clip or beginning of a clip, it's like a little hesitation, like they're going to scroll to the next video. So like just keeping it moving, and then also keeping them keeping them engaged overall by like continuing to add value or build suspense, and just like it's really a story, right? It's just like continuing to like reel them in and keep them interested and not get boring, not lose them. And the thing I tell a lot of my clients is like, keep things so simple. Like we were talking earlier, like with that Edward Verified guy, the simplest content always wins. And like, if you can talk like you're talking to like a middle schooler, like that content's going to work better than if you're talking like you're talking to a CEO. Cause like the average American's going to understand lower level, like language more than like high level language, especially in your industry.
Dude, I know it through and through. If somebody starts talking big technical stuff, I don't know why or what it is, but like if I'm not really into the subject or already really experienced with it, then I just start to like, you are losing me. I am out. The big words, I'm a simple guy anyways, but I'm like, whoa, I'm gone. So it makes a lot of sense that you have to simplify, right? Mm-hmm. Simplicity is always magic. And I think that in content, as we've been testing it out, we see the same thing when we're trying to do that framework you're explaining. We always brainstorm on it. Like, hey, if we have an idea, Riley and I will always spit back and forth of like, okay, how do we we start to talk about it, and then we're like, okay, how do we simplify this out, and how do we make this exactly like you said, as concise and simple as possible, and perform on that. Like sometimes it starts super wordy, and it's like, get it down. Okay, we got it. Right?
For sure. So, it's like the hook when it comes to short form content. Like I always think like subject line in emails, like I spend almost like 50% of my time like writing my email copy, and the other 50% of the time coming up with the subject line. Yeah. Like, cause that's like, if people read that and they don't care, like they're not going to open the email. So like the goal is to get them to open. Same thing with short form content. Like the goal is to get them to like open the content, which is like get past the hook to watch what's in like the meat of the video. Yeah. And you do that by getting that first 3-second hook like dialed in. Yeah. And that should be like 50% of your effort on like, you know, the meat and potatoes of the video, 50% of your effort on like the first 3 seconds and the hook.
Oh yeah. Sometimes we even like try to film a couple different hooks that we think might work, or that you have to adjust and you have to play with, right? Because it's exactly right. If you can't get somebody to watch that beginning, even if the meat and potato are great and you're going to give a ton of value, if they're not going to scroll past, it's so true. And that I like that email subject line when it reminds me of how like the best YouTubers talk about even spending most of their time on the thumbnail.
Yeah, thumbnail and title.
Same concept, right? Yeah. Going back to before we pivot to YouTube or other stuff, going back, so we got good hook, good meat and potatoes, and then are you always doing a call to action? Do you think that's needed? Talk to me about ending strategy on a good video.
Yeah, I don't usually do a call to action. I would say like 10% of the time do a call to action. Like if you're trying to get people to, you know, either buy something or sign up for something or like take some sort of action, right? Feel like it can just be like bothersome to ask people to continue to do something with your content, even if it's like, make sure you like this or share it or comment below. Like, feel like if you're just, it comes back to the Gary Vee model, right? Where it's like, just give as much as you humanly can without expectation. And then people will start to ask like, what can I do? Right. Yeah. So, I always try to kind of avoid call to actions in most of my content. Obviously now you have like the whole, like I said earlier, the 6-second reels, read caption, and like everyone's telling you to do something.
Yeah, they're trying to, on that, what that strategy is like, they put the little thing and then they read the caption, and the idea is like that thing just
loops. Yeah.
And that's because what they feel like that feeds the algorithm, meaning like if I watch, let's say I watch a video over and over and over, it's going to spread it out further. Is that what the concept is on the algorithm, or what?
Yeah, I think so. I think partly that, and like getting people to comment, getting people to share it, but
engagement.
Yeah, it's just overall engagement. But I just think that type of content doesn't really build brand. Like it doesn't, like if you watch those videos, you never know like who the creator is. We're just like, if you watch a real like good video or like some from like Ryan Pineda or Gary Vee or something, like, you know whose content that is, because like they actually deliver value. It's not just a stock footage B-roll clip that's 6 seconds with text on the screen. It's like there's no face to that, you know, and there's no brand. So I don't know. I think it's kind of a short-term type of deal, like short-term win.
It's a small little trend that'll
fizzle out. But what were we
the easy,
talking about?
No, you're right. It's the easy route on those, and I see why you don't like them. I agree with you. The easy route usually never works out, right? It's like you got to make sure you're giving a ton of value. Now, there's probably a time and place for those once in a while, but if that's your regular strategy, probably not a great overall strategy. For sure. In general. What about, like, on that note, I've been seeing a lot of stuff on like, hey, create these AI generated videos. Do you think AI is going to come in and like disrupt the agency or videographer or just social media industry?
Yeah, I think it already is for sure. I mean, there's so many AI tools out there now for editing or scripting or whatever. It's only going to continue to get better. So
are you using any?
Oh yeah, I use it a ton. I don't know if you guys use it for your or if you live switch on your podcast, maybe you don't need it, but there's a editing software called Autopod where like you can basically pull in like however many camera angles you have, like time them all up and like match the audio and the video and make sure they're all like stacked. And then you just basically hit like go, and it'll go through and chop the whole podcast. It'll just chop and switch cameras. It knows like who's talking. Yeah, that's probably one of the most powerful ones out there that I've seen. because editing podcasts, I mean, it could take multiple hours to switch cameras and edit and trim down and all that stuff. So that like takes care of that. Obviously
it's called Autopod.
Yeah, Autopod.
Nice.
Obviously like ChatGPT can be super powerful, but I even think as powerful as these AI tools are, at the end of the day, you have to be the one like putting in the inputs. But it definitely helps save a ton of time, give better results, but you have to be good at feeding the information to get the right stuff out. So
yeah, it's only as good as its prompts, right?
For sure.
Yeah, with ChatGPT, I know I got like drunk off the idea because I'm not a good writer, and you know, like anytime I'm a procrastinator, and I'm kind of like, honestly, and that stuff, I'm kind of lazy. So I got drunk off the idea of being like, hey, write me this, and then it spits out like all this stuff so fast, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But then if you start to really digest it or look at it,
definitely sounds
it's like
anything that starts with the word unlock, you know, it's just from ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I do think like exactly what you said on the prompt, the better you prompt it, the better off you are. And it's like any machine learning, if you can use those tools in the right way, you know, it is kind of wild how you can even then spit in like examples of how you already write in your personality or tone, or you want it to be funny or informative or, you know, so it's pretty crazy how that tool is evolving, and will be very interesting to see as we know how quickly technology moves, what's going to happen. Like, it's not going to be like wait for 10 years. No, they've already been working on this for 30, 40, 50 years. I talked to some of the smart tech guys. They're like, dude, AI's been around forever. People just weren't ready yet.
Oh yeah.
And now they're ready. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's amazing. I use ChatGPT quite a bit. I wouldn't even say I use it like every day in my stuff, but here and there for like email ideas, content ideas, scripting things. But like I said, like you have to put in good inputs, you know, and you have to be kind of like cognizant of like what's it spitting out and be like, okay, that was a little corny. Like, let's like change it up a little bit or something. I use it more for like, I would say ideation. Yeah. And then from there, I filter it down into like kind of my own content. Yeah,
you spitball with it back and forth, almost like you would with a good friend or like your business partner. You spitball with it, and it's pretty dang cool. One of the things I wasn't expecting from AI at all, maybe all the people in it they were, but I didn't expect it to have such a like creative component to it. So all the like the art, the drawing, I did not expect that piece of it to be so big. Like I would have thought the opposite. I think just robotics, you know, you don't think like, oh, it's going to be so creative. That thing is crazy if you play around with those images.
Yeah. Yeah. That part's super interesting because I always thought that like, same as you, it would replace the more like mechanical jobs versus the creative jobs. Just because like when it comes to video, and I still kind of believe this, but when it comes to like video editing or photography or graphic design, like there's definitely a human element of creativity that I don't think AI can ever replicate, because like we created the AI, we have the creative ideas from the foundation. So I think there's always going to be kind of that like human creative element that comes first. But as far as like being able to tell it like, hey, build me this image with this in it and that, and make it in this area, and like it can do it like pretty much perfectly. So I think from that aspect, like again, when it comes to like giving it the right inputs, I think what it can put out is pretty insane. Yeah,
I remember the first time I was playing around with it, I was like doing exactly that, learning how to prompt it. It was spitting out an image, and I'm like, okay, now do it like this. And I was doing it so much, like next thing I know, I'm like an hour and a half in, like doing it, and they prompt me. They're like, you've used it too many times. The next time you can create an image is like 27 minutes from now. So I'm like, okay, let me go over to this other chat and like I'll work on something over here, just trying to play around with it, you know. But what I did feel, I was like, wow, this technology is insane. I have to make sure I understand it. Can't be scared of it. You don't want to get left behind. Want to use it as a good tool. But I also at the same time felt to myself exactly what you said. I'm like, although this technology will create a lot of good, people are using the word co-piloting, there's going to be, like anything, when a new technology comes in, it's exciting at first, but then there's the opposite of that. Like what's the best strength is also its biggest weakness. So people are going to want that. They're not going to want a robotic answer. Even if you prompt it well, they're going to want to get back to that like kind of organic, real, authentic stuff. And so you can't replace that no matter what, right? Like the mistakes, the challenges, whatever it is, you can't replace authenticity, and AI will never be able to be authentic in its own manner and way. So I agree with you on that. I think it's a tool that everyone should pay attention to. You don't want to get left behind. Don't be afraid of it, but also like tap into your own authenticity, because that's the key to that personal.
Yeah. I think I just see it way too much, especially with the fact that like I work with a lot of real estate agents, and like whether it's writing like listing descriptions or video content or like captions for their videos, like they just use it way too much as a crutch.
Yeah,
and
that's
just
a good way
like,
to put it.
oh God, it's like I will read. It's actually funny because most people can pick it out, but like you can read like a listing description or like listen to like a voice over a video, and you're like, this is ChatGPT, like verbatim. You can tell like all the words it uses are like I said, like unlock, like all this stupid stuff. Like you can just see right through it. And it's like when you're using it as a crutch like that, just like, I don't know. I don't think those are the people that are going to continue to innovate and like surpass the other people who like really know how to use it.
I couldn't agree more. And I think people have to like really think about, do they want to be going with the mass crowd on things, or do you want to zig when other people are zagging?
Well, yeah, because like you think about it too, like if you're using ChatGPT like almost copy paste, it's giving the same results to everybody else. Yeah. Like you're not unique. So like if two people ask it the same question, like it's going to give out pretty much the same answer. So it's like you're literally just kind of making yourself a robot and just cloning yourself like everybody else. So like you said, like zig when everyone else is zag, like be unique, and, you know, don't just like hop on the trends and just do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, exactly. Be you. That's the key, because I think that it's funny enough already. I could see that if you do that, you'll differentiate yourself. Let's talk a little bit about personal brand, the importance of it, and just your opinion on whether or not, if you want to do anything, if it's important to build a personal brand or not. You know, let's touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think about this a lot, and I think that building a personal brand is one of the best, most powerful things that you can do, no matter what it is. Like, even if you have a 9-to-5, maybe no big like aspirations of growing a business or starting a business or anything like that, like building a personal brand, which at the root of is just creating content, can open so many doors for you. Like you see it time and time again of like people, like, for example, I feel like, Ironmans are like really big right now. Yeah. People doing like triathlons and stuff like that. And like, there's a lot of people that just like start training, start creating content. They start building this brand, and now they can go do like whatever they want. They can go build this business. They get invited by this brand to go do this event. Like creating content and building a personal brand literally opens up so many doors and so many more connections, no matter like what your goal, even if you don't have a goal with it yet, like it can propel you in so many different ways. So
yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I got hit in the face with it maybe a year or two ago, where before I was like, social media is a distraction, and then finally I was like, actually, it's the opposite of that. If it's used properly, it's a tool to
it's attention.
And it's a tool that can create a ton of opportunity, you know. So I agree with you on that. What do you say to somebody who's like, okay, Connor, I hear you loud and clear. That's cool. That's great. But what kind of content do I even create? Like, I don't, like you said, I'm doing a 9-to-5. Like, what do I even create? What do I do? What do you say to them?
Dude, literally like whatever it is that you're passionate about, like doesn't matter, like whatever your passion is, whatever you feel called to like create content around or document, like that's what you should lean into. I wouldn't even look at like what's trending right now, what's hot, like, oh, what's gonna make me go viral the fastest? Like, what trend can I jump on? Like that will never last. And if you don't enjoy it, you'll never last doing it. So like, just focus on like, what is it that I like? If I could do one thing every day with like, no restrictions, like what is that thing that I would do? And it's funny because like I'm in a YouTube coaching program right now, and some of the other students in there's actually several that are into like planting and like flower beds and stuff like that. They have these massive YouTube channels of like planting flowers and proper, what's the stuff you put in like your grass? Fertilizers and everything like that. And I'm like, I would never even think to like start a YouTube channel around this. But it's like, that's just where like, passion meets opportunity, and like creating something that you're passionate about. Just like if you're consistent and people can see that passion in you, and like it'll take off. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. Another one that hits hard for me as well is, if you think about, Patrick Bet-David said this, and it hit really hard for me. The amount of money, if he could go to his great grandfather or his grandfather and look back at what his life was like, there was no documentation of it. But if you could go back and hear what his grandfather was going through when he was 25 or 30 or 40, right? The amount of money he would pay to be able to just understand and see that from a documentation side it's priceless, right? And so being able to do that and just document the process, your passions, what you're going through, what you're thinking about. One, that if you have a big, like, rocking chair generational vision, thinking back to being able to, let's say I think about it in my own world. Like, let's say I have 2 kids. Let's say freak accident happens, and for some reason a week from now, I won't be able to instill my beliefs on them as they grow up. Well, at least they would have a library now of what I've been working on for the last, call it, year and a half. And as they grow, they could continue to watch that. What a gift that is, right? Like, almost makes me cry thinking about it. But the point would be how uncomfortable I felt when I started putting myself out there or filming something versus what it could do and open up, even if it's just having a documented storyboard for the generations to come. That benefit far surpasses how uncomfortable you feel at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. And it is uncomfortable at the beginning. Like, you feel so silly. You pull out a camera and you're like, why would people want to listen to what I have to say? Or like, people, like, think about what happens when people put cameras in front of them. They even start acting different, it's pretty silly. But getting over that piece, if you can see the bigger vision, then to me, that's like, okay, feeling a little bit of uncomfortable. One, if you're uncomfortable with something, that usually means you should lean into it. So most everybody feels uncomfortable documenting something or filming themselves when they first start. Well, probably because you need to lean into it.
Yeah.
Like, how many times have you worked on something that makes you uncomfortable? You do it anyways, you grow through it. It's always been worth it, right?
Oh, dude, every time. And it's always like, same thing. It's like that one piece of content that you didn't want to film, or like that one edit that you put together that you thought was like too cheesy or like whatever. Like, you end up putting that out. Like, that's the best performing one. It's like, it only sounds weird to you. Like, you only feel awkward to yourself. Like, when someone else sees the content, like from an external perspective, like, they don't have those same feelings that like you feel of like being awkward. And I think one thing you touched on there, which just like documenting, that I think is one of the most powerful kind of like strategies or just things to think about when building a brand and creating content, is like, separate yourself from thinking of like, oh, I have to create all this content, and focus more on just like documenting the day to day.
Yeah.
Like, Gary Vee always said that, like, document over create. And that's why I tell all my students too, especially in like real estate, is like, as long as you document what you do throughout the day, whether you're touring houses or on calls, like, you can turn that into content. Like, you just need, same thing. I work with my dad's business still, and edit some videos for them. And like, I'm just like, I just need the content from you guys. Like, I just need you guys to actually film stuff, and then we can turn it into content. Then we can edit it. Then we can add text and put music behind it and do everything else. Like, don't focus so much on like creating the content, what the final product's going to look like. Like, focus more on just like document the day to day and like capture the clips, and then it can turn into stuff.
100%. And by the way, like, I studied this and look at it too. Go back, like, anybody that's major now, go back if you have the time and you're interested and you're like, should I document? Should I not? Should I do this? Should I not? Like, will anything ever come from it? Go back to like, I dare, like, go scroll on Patrick Bet-David's YouTube and go back to his, you can just filter.
Filter from
just hit oldest.
Longest,
11 years ago. See what the first videos were like. See what that was like. Same exact thing. But what he decided, that the potential of putting himself out there and going for it far outweighed and surpassed like feeling uncomfortable, etc. And then he did it 11 years. And then everyone, you see the back end, right? Well, he's been making videos for 11 years.
Yeah.
But it's cool. You can do that. Go to all the creators that are now huge that you look up to, that you see that they've been doing it for that long, but go to their first videos, see what it's like, see what they were doing.
Yeah.
And you'll see like it takes time, but they still put themselves out there. They didn't delete those videos. Those are still there. It's part of the process. And that's even, think about the gift that is to the Patrick Bet David family, the name, the kids, etc. They can watch that forever.
Yeah.
You know, and just stick with it. And continue, like you said, be a giver, give. And the answer of what'll come, people will start to ask, and you'll start to figure out what the point is, right? So
no one really sees your first video, which is also kind of nice.
That's
the
a
fact
good
that like
that's a
no
good
one sees your first
except
video.
Your mom.
Yeah, no one sees it except for you. So it's like just put it out there, you know. Yeah. But just like getting better. I have a video that I'm going to put out that's like very similar, where it's like I was just watching back the other day. It's when I started like kind of doing like a daily vlog back in like 2019 when I was like starting to grow my business. And I have a clip from like the first episode that I put out that I want to turn into a piece of content. And yeah, just looking back at like me talking to the camera, I'm so like quiet. I have like no emotion. It's just like so different. Like it's just like so awkward, but like no one sees that content, you know, and you just like continue to build video after video after video after video. And eventually you get good enough to where your stuff starts to get seen. Yeah. So,
and nobody sees that first video, you know, but yourself. And of course, like inner critics are real, right? So like we're always, I mean, the inner critic, like think about it. Oftentimes, I don't know if everybody has this, but I would probably say like 90% of the people that are here listening, they hate hearing their own voice on like a voicemail or of course, but that's because your inner critic is there. And again, you just have to try to paint a picture that's like, look at it outside of the small, uncomfortable piece and look at the bigger picture, and then start putting daily action around it. And you know, it's not, the other cool thing about content that I think is you never know, like life is about relationships, and you're one relationship away from changing your entire life. Yeah. And so you could, through social media, where I used to think it was a distraction, it's actually an opportunity, a connection point. You never know who you might meet because you're documenting, putting yourself out there, or you never know who you might help, right? You might be going through something and you're simply documenting what you're going through, and somebody else, that might be the exact thing that they need to hear to feel okay within their situation. So even within that, it's so worth doing, because you never know who you could help, you never know who you could meet, and it could change your life forever. Yeah. Yeah. There's an old quote. I want to say it's from maybe like a Darren Hardy book or something, maybe Compound Effect or something like that. But there's a quote that says, everybody else knows something that you don't. And I think you can use that in like the reverse form too, in the fact that like you have something to teach everybody else. And whether you believe it or not, you know, there are things that you know that you can help people with, and you're doing a disservice and being selfish by not sharing that information. So I think there's things that like, whether it's in your business or just your personal life, or if you're training for something, like there are things that you know and understand or have learned, and just simply by sharing your experience, like you can help more people. And I think that's a powerful thing for sure. Yeah, it's one of the most powerful things that you could do, right? Okay, somebody that's listening, they're like, all right, Connor, Dirk, like I hear you, personal brand's important. I agree. You know, let's just go in the niche that you're in. So I've got my brokerage. I'm trying to get more listings, but I need a strategy. Like, how do I don't even know about these channels. Like, do I go on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, like LinkedIn? What do I do? Let's talk a little bit about strategy for somebody who sees the importance, but now needs some actual technical strategy. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the very first thing, if you're like just starting, like you really don't post on social media. Like you might post some like pictures of your family here and your there, like some graphics and so like the meal you're having. Yeah, stuff like that. But like you're not really posting with like any sort of strategy or intent. I think the first thing you need to do is just like figure out what platform you're most comfortable on and prioritize that. I think too many people stop at that first question of like, what platform do I need to be on? How do I post on Facebook and also post on Instagram? Then do I also need to be on YouTube? And like they get paralysis by analysis a little bit. It's like, just focus only on one. Like, doesn't matter what it is. They all work. They all are competing with each other. So clearly they're all, you know, strong strategies. Yeah. It's not like there's one that's just infinitely better than the others. So I think focus on one, prioritize one, build a strategy around that. And then honestly, like
just look and see what's working for other people in your industry. Like keep it super simple to where like you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. Just look and see what works and what type of content kind of matches your style and your personality, what you enjoy creating, and like focus on that. Try to continue making it better. Like literally focus on one platform, post one video every single day, continue to get better. And like you will see, I guarantee you'll see results if you do
How
those
many
two
days?
things.
How many days do you need to post?
When you're just starting, I would say post every single day.
For how long?
Only because you need to get better at making videos.
Yeah. For how long?
A year.
Yeah.
Yeah. 12 months.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I would say.
That's 365 posts every single day. Yeah. Come on.
And I guarantee by the end of that, you will be infinitely better at creating content than when you started, and you will be starting to see results from the content that you're posting.
Yeah.
It's just inevitable.
It's inevitable. I couldn't agree more. I remember when I first made the venture, decided to do it, that was a big decision. I'm like a committed guy, right? So when I commit, I'm committed. And that can be really frustrating sometimes, like Sunday night, trying to figure out what to do. And I remember trying to film my first like talking head video. And I even thought I had no idea what you're doing. I thought like you would do each one. So like whatever the hook was, like you'd film that, 3 seconds, pause, and then I was like, okay, what's next? And then pause. So I had like 9 little 3-second
clips.
videos.
Yeah.
And I send that over, Dippin, who edits our videos, I send that to him. He's like, dude, what are you doing? He sends me back. He's like, this is how you do it. You just roll the beat, like roll it the whole time. And he's like, and I'll edit it. And I was like, how is that even possible? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he sends me back like an example of somebody where it was like a 2-minute clip of what they were doing. And then he's like,
cut
okay,
down.
Do it like this and I'll cut it like this. And I'm like, it just like shattered my mind. I'm like, really? Okay. So, but that's step by step. Like you said, you get better at videos, each time. And like, there's some times when you're just in the dungeon, you're just like, am I really going to do this? Am I going to stick with it? But like you said, commit, do it for a year, and every single video you'll get a little bit better. Like don't judge yourself too hard. Like do the analytics, start figuring out what works. But if same thing with, I'm sure your content and even our content, like we try a framework, we push it out. Okay, we see how it does. Oh, people like this framework, so we'll make more videos in this style, this framework. And but then we get to the point, just like you're saying, oh, I'm getting kind of like, this is getting kind of mundane. How many videos can you make with this, what the drywall looks like on a new build, right? So then it's like, let's test something else out. And you just push it out. Do people like it? Okay, they like it. We'll keep making more. Or they don't like it, we'll pivot or adjust. And so it's just like you said, every single time you do it, it's like getting a rep. And if you believe that it's important, which it is important, just commit to it, right? So every day for a year. Yeah,
every day for a year. And then from there, I would say, like you said, start to see what's working well, what content performed the best, and then double down on that, right? And then you can stop posting every single day and focus more on posting more quality content, or maybe distributing to other platforms, or maybe moving from short form into long form. Like that's kind of where you can start to expand a little bit. But yeah, you got to get better at making content first, which you only do by making a video every single day, and then continue to make better videos in like kind of a less frequent time frame. I mean, if you can keep it up doing every single day, like if you have a team like yourself, like with a videographer and an editor, and all you have to do is kind of like be the content, then for sure you have people who can kind of push stuff out daily for you. But if you're like a one-man band, like, okay, what's my video theme for the week? Maybe what do I want to talk about? All right, how can I convey this in like a way that would make sense, be interesting to people? Like you can put a little bit more time and thought into your content, I think.
Yeah, I agree. You know what's crazy about that? You gave that strategy, and some people, like most people, will listen to that. They might do 30, but the amount of people that will follow through on that, unfortunately, it's very few people. Actually, what I'm going to do just for fun, if somebody's listening, they don't do content right now, not yet. I just thought of this idea. If they don't do it yet, but they want to, they know the personal brand's important. If you hit us up and you tell us like, hey, I'm starting today, and you go 365 days in a row every single day, I'll give you $1,000. You have to hit us up, let us know. And I will bet you guys maybe a handful of people will follow through and do it. Don't too many people do it. Next thing you know, I'm shoving that up to $1,000. But no, I'll do it. I mean it. You have to do it every day. Can't miss it. And you can't already be in the content world. This has to be like you kickstart your content. There's my incentive for you. If you're not incentivized by all the other reasons, I'm going to give you $1,000 if you do it 365 days in a row. You can't miss a day though. We'll be watching.
I love that.
So, sweet. So let's say they choose anything else to say on that piece, then because I want to go deeper with it.
No.
Okay, let's go deeper. Yeah. So let's say choose one. We're going to choose one. Let's say we choose, for example, YouTube. We're going to choose YouTube. We're going to post there every single day. Let's go a little deeper on YouTube strategy. Is that a good one to do? Like you said, strong strategy for everything, but YouTube, what does that look like and what do we do there?
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking like YouTube long form, I think that's going to be definitely a lot harder to do something every single day. Yep. If it's more short form, 10, 30, 60-second videos, that's much easier. But as far as YouTube, there's a few strategies that you could go with on there to get content put out easily. And one of the fastest things, so that you don't have to worry about really scripting videos, editing videos, anything like that, is just doing YouTube lives. And just even if it's like once a week or twice a week, say, hey, I'm going live. I'm going to be talking about this thing that I deal with in my business that I help people with, whether that's loans or building or whatever it might be. Like, here's the topic I'm covering this week. Hop on YouTube live. You give your live spiel, you give your information, you teach people something new, and then it's done, gets uploaded as a YouTube video. You don't have to edit. You don't have to do any of that.
Super authentic.
Yeah. And the nice thing about those lives too is like people understand that it's like a live stream. So they're not expecting any fancy editing. Yeah. They're not expecting background music or animations or like anything like that. It's just like kind of a live webinar, basically.
That's a good idea. I would have never thought of that as a original strategy, but I actually like that strategy a ton. So you go live, you're able to just get used to your voice, get on used to the camera, right, et cetera. So you don't have to have all the editing, and boom, you got a video right there. That is actually a really, really good strategy. So go live once a week. What about then, like, tell me a little bit more on the YouTube side, like what makes a good video? What makes a video get good views? Like, is it thumbnail? The tags matter? Tell me a little bit more of the technical framework.
Yeah. So on YouTube specifically, there's really, like, when you're coming up with your strategy, I guess I'll call it, there's kind of three main things that matter the most. And that's the topic of the video, the title, like literally what the video is titled, and then the thumbnail. And all three of those are basically of equal importance. And the reason I say topic is, like, YouTube actually really isn't like a social media platform. It's a search engine. People get on there. There's a search bar at the top. People are searching for things to research, learn about, find out, answer their questions on. So people are actually searching for content on YouTube, which means you need to create videos on topics that people are searching for. So whether it's like, when are interest rates coming down, or like, how do I find a house in this price point in this area, or like whatever it is, right? Or like, what are fun things to do in Bend in the summer? Like, these are things that people are searching for on YouTube. So taking those ideas, turning those into video topics, and then matching up those titles that you're titling the videos with things that people are actually searching for. So like a good example, I guess, I mean, you could even just do this, be like, how to buy a house if I make, and then like put space and like see what fills in. Like, that's what people are searching for.
The top search. Yeah.
Top search. Yeah. So like, that should be the title or video. Because if your video title literally matches like what people are searching, that's the most important. That will rank like the highest out of everything. So matching your titles with what people are searching for, and then creating thumbnails that get people to want to click, which is kind of like a little bit of an art in itself. But I would say if you're doing that, focus on keeping it simple. Like, the biggest problem I see people make, or biggest blunder, is like people add way too much into their thumbnails. They add all the Canva icons and graphics and text over here and text over there and 3 background images and then their face. And it's like way too distracting. Yeah. Like, a simple framework that I follow is just like the rule of 3, which is like either one piece of text an icon, and then like your face or an image, like basically 3 items on the thumbnail.
Yeah. You get 3 items and that's
3 things. And that's that. Keep it simple. Yeah, that's kind of my strategy there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. See, Connor just gave you a phenomenal strategy. If you have a hair salon in Bend, Oregon, and you're trying to get more organic customers, what I would do is exactly that. Like, what's somebody going to look, if I'm visiting Bend or I need a haircut, what's somebody going to type into Google? And you need to type that into YouTube, see what comes up first, and then own that word or own the salon word or own that word in your local area, because that's a huge organic benefit that's on there forever. It's same idea of why I even like putting content out there. It's like cloning yourself and becoming evergreen. Somebody can get to know you without even having to have a 1-hour conversation with them. Right?
Yeah. So, well, and now too, like, it's actually interesting, but video content is starting to rank higher on Google than text-based content, which pulls mainly from YouTube because they're both Google companies. Yeah. So by creating content on YouTube, you're actually boosting your ranking on Google too. Yeah, so.
I know my own behavior, like my own human behavior of like, if I'm looking something up, if I want to learn something, I'm a visual learner. So I will actually click the videos. Like, I want to see what ranks, and I need to, like, how to become a real estate developer. I will click the videos first. I'm not going to read a blog about that.
I'm not either. Yeah.
Like, so it makes a lot of sense to be able to create good strategy around that. And I think that if you're going to invest your time and capital into doing something like that, it's well worth being in that, YouTube video. It's essentially video SEO, right? That's what you're doing. You're creating like search engine optimization through video. It's pretty genius strategy. And like you said, what I love the strategy you have there is like, type in how to buy a house, and then you'll see exactly what your title. And you don't need to go crazy. Keep it simple and just start pushing it out. Right. Yeah. So pretty smart.
And then one other like golden nugget strategy in there too, in the search bar of YouTube, is like, if you type in kind of like what you're looking for, like trying to think of a good example, like best microphones to start a podcast or something, whatever. I don't know what it would be. But then before that, if you type in _space, it'll give you everything that people are searching for, like on the front end. So like leading up to like what your search is ending with, it'll tell you everything that people are starting their search with. So it'd be like how to, what is, like where to find, like it'll tell you the beginning of the search term too.
Connor is dropping bombs for us. So I didn't know that strategy. So what we do is if we want to figure out, you put _space and then type in,
and then it'll give you
the topic you're gonna.
It'll give you the top searches in that start that sentence. Yeah.
So there you go. Boom, baby. That's why we do this podcast, because Connor's dropping free bombs for you guys. That's a great one. We'll have to start using that one, Riley. Yeah, we haven't.
Yeah, I use it all the time. It's great.
Boom. So, yeah. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that gold nugget there. YouTube strategy. Anything else on that one?
I mean, just still on the subject of like SEO with videos ranking in Google, like. That's where obviously the title is super important. Writing a good description is important.
Tags matter.
A good SEO rich description is helpful, but also like in that description, like that description box of your YouTube video is like your golden ticket to get sales, get leads, get emails. Like people are going there to like click links. Like that's what they're looking for. So like whatever you want people to do to like do business with you or put in their email, like that should be like the first link in your description is like, want to work with me? Like sign up for my newsletter or whatever it is and put that up there. But then tags are important, but honestly, until recently, I didn't know this, but they're actually like one of the like lowest ranking items of importance with YouTube videos. Like I think they can help maybe kind of position your videos a little bit, but I don't think they necessarily help it rank as high as like your title.
Title, thumbnail,
and description.
So,
stuff like that.
So don't go like kind of like, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but kind of like hashtags. It's not the most important. The quality of the video is the most important. Then like hook, meat, et cetera.
I would say like the two, if you're looking at analytics, like the two most important factors in your YouTube video performance is going to be your click-through rate and your average view duration. So if your average view duration is like 80% of your video, that's phenomenal. And if your click-through rate is like 6 or 7%, that's amazing as well. And like if your click-through rate's like 2%, that means either your title or thumbnail is shitty and needs to be improved so people actually click on it. If the average view duration is really bad, that just means like either the video wasn't what they were expecting, so like the video didn't really match up with the title and thumbnail, or
got super boring.
Yeah, it got super boring. You lost track, something like that, where people clicked off.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So YouTube, we're teed up there, and if anybody's is wondering, just re-listen to it. That's a legitimately great framework for strategy on YouTube. There's also YouTube Studios where you can see a lot of good analytics. Freaking awesome tool.
Yeah,
it's all there for us.
Yeah.
What about somebody's like, yeah, cool, YouTube got it, and then we'll do kind of bucket like Instagram, TikTok, all of it kind of together. But Instagram, let's say somebody's like, okay, I'm going to post 365 days. I want to get $1,000 from Dirk. So I'm going to post 365 days every single day on Instagram. What should I focus on?
I would focus on like metrics, like analytics. Like what are Reels posts, live videos kind of same thing, or is it like the hashtags matter? What would we talked about what makes a good viral video, but what other things would you do? Would you have like different content buckets? What would you do there? Yeah, I mean, I would definitely focus on Reels. Yeah. That's going to get you the most bang for your buck, basically. But honestly, like an idea, if you're just kind of getting started, like I would start a series. Like I would do like day one of building X until I'm at like this end goal. Like this is what I'm trying to get. And I've always just seen those videos perform really well. One, it's an easy way to stay consistent, and it kind of gives people that payoff that we were talking about, right? Where it's like, here's day one of trying to build my business to X goal. And people are like, oh, let's see like when he gets there. Or like there was this one a while back I came across where this guy bought this like junkyard Toyota Tacoma and was like converting it into like a camper truck where he was going to go travel the country and live out of. And it's like day one, like, here's what I did, strip this down. Now, tomorrow I'm going to go do this. And like, it's like, all right, well now I want to go watch that video to see what happened. So like, I think those, series videos perform really well. So that could be something that people do. Definitely focusing on Reels. And I mean, different content buckets can be helpful, but I would say in the grand scheme of things, it either needs to like entertain, educate, or make someone laugh, basically. So one of those three things, it kind of needs to be the theme of the content.
I like the series one. I like the series one a lot. I wouldn't have thought of that. I think it's super smart. You can do it on like
you could do that on one of your like new constructions.
Exactly. We even do that. We try to film each scope, right?
Yeah.
This is what the dig out looks like, the concrete. So you can do it in that. You could even match up the two challenges. Like, hey, I'm going to post, and it could be a strategy of transforming your body from a workout side, any strategy, like you said, 100%. Whatever you're trying to do. If you love flowers, like transforming your garden, day one, what you're doing, right? So doing a series video on something you're passionate about, boom, and then just documenting the process. It's 100%. Actually a really clever way to get yourself to have a good, long, consistent amount of posting. So
I love that.
That's a smart one.
Yeah,
I like that one. So, okay, so somebody's like, okay, we're going to do it. They're going to earn $1,000 from us, etc. Let's talk a little bit about you put a video out there, you look at the analytics, and maybe you don't like it, or you feel disappointed. You're like, oh, well, I got like 200 people or 200 views on it, right? What do you say to people like that, or like the mindset of judging yourself on the video too early?
Yeah, I mean, I always love the comparison of like 200 views, and then you look at like a stadium of like 200 people, or like a crowd of 200 people, right? It's like 200 people saw your video, or like saw you. Like, that's an accomplishment, I think, in it of itself. And I would just always, when you're just starting, try to kind of improve one thing each video, like really analyze it. I wouldn't even look at like the analytics really. Like, views can be helpful, sure, but I would look at, be like, how, like, really watch the video back, be like, how was my hook? Like, could it have been better? Like, I guess here's an analytical point, but like, did people click off after like 3 seconds? Be like, yeah, okay, well then either the topic was shitty or like my hook was shitty. Like, one of the two like wasn't good. let's improve that on the next video. Or like, was my delivery not good? Was the cadence not good? Was that like, this is a big thing I think a lot of people miss, especially real estate agents, is like that first like establishing shot. Like if you're selling real estate or a house or, you know, like you want that first shot to be like the money shot of the house, you know, like even if it's not that nice of a house, at least show people what to expect and like what's there. I just hate when real estate agents start with like selfie mode on their face. It's like, you're not giving us anything.
Yeah, we want about the house.
Yeah, I want the house. Like I don't want your face. Like, you know, so I would focus like, what is that establishing shot? Could the actual video be better? Could the hook be better? Could the text on the screen be better? Stuff like that. And then what was I going to say next? On like the views standpoint,
I mean, I with the view standpoint, one thing what we've experienced too is you might have a good video and just bad timing. Like we had that on a video that we knew was a good framework. Like we knew it was good. We seen it pop off. We knew the framework was good. We knew that the content was valuable. Like we just knew it was a good video. We spent good time making it and we put it out. The first time we put it out, it got like 30,000 views and died at 30,000. We're like, that we know this has got a good framework. Like, we tweaked it, literally one tweak. No, Bradley's like, not even really a tweak. Reposted it 3 days later.
Yeah, like
5-6 days later, same framework, same content. Now it's gone over 1 million views. So timing, sometimes you got a good video, like you said, small tweaks, timing, and you know, you got a same exact video, 30,000 views, and then 1 million views.
I've done that multiple times on multiple videos where I'll make a video and be like, man, I thought this would be really good. I thought it was really helpful. And like maybe I just need to change the hook. So I'll either change like what I say or like the text I put on the screen as like the hook. And
the visual hook. Yeah. You think so many times you think about like just the verbal hook, but yeah, like you said, like you just made the text simpler. Like you made the visual better, huh?
Changing that and it'll take a video from 2,000 to 20,000 views or 50,000 views. Yes. Like I've done it multiple times.
Yeah.
So
don't, and remember, like it's just a playground. Like some people are like, oh, I can't repost. I'm like, repost, try again.
Even repost like your best content.
Yeah. Just repost.
Like go back 2-3 months and like, what was the 1, 2 or 3 videos that like did the best? Like repost those. Cause like if they did well once, they'll do well again.
It doesn't count for the $1,000 challenge though. You got to post this new video.
Right. Original content only.
I agree. Yeah. So it's like you said, it's testing, playing, adjusting. And then I think back like on ours, we're still all the time just playing around, putting out content that documenting what's happening, putting out content, playing around, getting feedback, and then we'll just continue to see where it goes. And I agree with you on those pieces so much. Hashtags matter at all or does it matter?
Not as much as you think.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. Some people argue like don't need them at all. Some people put them on there.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started, I'd be like spending time like, okay, I got to add this hashtag.
Yeah.
Actually, it was one of my most frustrating
Throw
things.
a few on if you want, I guess. That's my advice.
Exactly. Yeah. If you feel like it, but it's not, the algorithm's not pulling you off your hashtag. They're pulling off your, essentially from what I understand, tell me if this is accurate or not, like quality video, right? They push out the video, it shows it to like a certain level of people. If everybody watches it all the way through, they like it, then it spreads. Is that right or is that wrong?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, what does anyone know actually what the algorithm formula is? No, but I think a big mistake a lot of people make is they don't understand that the algorithm is just humans.
Yeah.
Algorithm is just the people who are watching the content. Yeah. Like the algorithm is just who engages with it. How do they engage? Do they like the video? Do they share it? Do they comment? Like that's the algorithm. So it's just people's reactions. I see constantly videos on my like explore page on Instagram or the Reels feed. And since I work with realtors, I'll see like a real estate video, like a listing video, right? So I'll get curious. I'll be like, okay, this is like another boring listing video where they start with their name and then the address and it doesn't do anything for anybody, and I'll click on it and it has 200 views and I'm like, because it didn't call anybody out, it didn't grab my attention, it wasn't interesting, like it didn't say this is the craziest home gym that you'll ever see in a house. Like it was just like, welcome to 123 Main Street and it's a 3-bed 4-bath. I'm like, okay, where is that? What am I looking at? Like it does nothing. So it's like your content when you post it, like it's getting shown to random strangers, like whether you know it or not. But like if they don't engage with it, it's not going to continue to get shown to more people.
Yep.
So like that's why it's stopping it. It's like 200 views, no one did anything with it, they didn't watch it, they didn't share it, it's done.
Yep.
Like it's not getting shown to more people. So like you got to find ways to get your content seen by more people.
Yep, 100%. Well, we're hitting our timeline, but Connor, if somebody wants to get involved with you, wants to come together with you, or just get connected with you, how can they find you?
Yeah, at Connor Newell __ on Instagram. My IG got hacked a couple years ago. So that's a whole nother story.
Okay,
but
yeah.
so Connor Newell _ on Instagram. Send me a DM. That's the best place to reach out to me.
Perfect. We'll link it in the bio, of course. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for dropping all those gold nuggets.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely have to have you back on when the time's right.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Sweet, man. And with that, we will see you on the next one, baby.